Galaxy Radio. Your campus, your voice.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's that man again. Despite his meandering maneuverability, his strategical susceptibility, his infantile indefatigability, and his tendency towards tactical stupidity, he still remains
an imaginary sound of music.
You're listening to Loose Men.
Thursdays, 7 till 8.
An imaginary sound of music.
On Galaxy Radio.
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Come on, once more. 5, 6, 2, 8.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Loose Men with me, Johnny Birch.
And me, Ben Hodgkinson.
So we're nearing the end now of the series. It's episode 5, so that's sort of the penultimate show. We've still got we've got episode 6 next week, because that's how numbers work, and then after that, the Christmas special. And it's been a good show. It's been a good series, I think.
It has. Solid start.
We've had our ups, we've had our downs.
Plenty of technical difficulties.
Plenty of technical... yeah. I mean, we almost had a technical difficulty a few days ago when apparently the whole system was just, got nuked.
Okay, it's first of this.
Yeah, but fortunately our tech team were able to sort that out, so we're absolutely fine at the moment.
Was it by Kim?
Maybe.
Classic Kim.
But that we'll talk about that in the legendary Red Top review later on.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, what else has happened this series? I'm trying to think. Well, have you still got a cold? Because you've been having a cold since.
It's been up and down.
I'd
say out of all the shows, this is probably the best it's been. I probably still sound nasally. I always do. That is actually just my normal voice. But I feel a bit better.
You feel a bit better.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, you're not you're not snivelling everywhere. Or,
no, exactly.
Yeah.
First episode where I haven't got the tissues in, so.
That's fair enough. And what have you been up to, Ben?
Not a whole lot. Same old. Just a few deadlines. I've got one deadline left now before Christmas, so I can't complain.
That's fair enough. I mean, I've had nothing to do. I'm just killing time now until Christmas.
Oh really? You've done Christmas now? You haven't got any of the deadlines?
I had one assignment this term. So
oh, well, have you got more exams or something then?
No, I've got 2 assignments over Christmas.
Right.
And then I've got an exam in January.
Surely you should have 2 more bits of assessed work.
I know,
no?
It's a bit weird. I don't really know what's going on. So I'm just going to leave that to the people in charge, and then I'm just going to nod my head and go along with it.
No, yeah, don't blame you.
So you were out last week, weren't you? Last weekend with the OTC lot, with the cadets.
I was
lads.
Indeed, I was.
How was that?
It was absolutely freezing. First time I've seen snow.
Oh, where did you go?
I can't remember what it's called. Near West Midlands, sort of.
Oh, okay. What,
out that way.
Just camping in a field?
Pretty much, yep. That sounds about right. So obviously the weather is set to be the coldest December on record. Don't know how long this record's been going for.
You're reading that off the Daily Star.
I am indeed. Spoiler for the Red Top review already.
But I mean, yeah, it's the Daily Star, so I think we can take that with a pinch of salt. Just only because, I don't know, just science.
Yeah.
So what have we got lined up for tonight then?
See, like I say, Red Top review.
We've got
90s music following on for the decades. So obviously, at the end we'll have the best playing song from the 1990s.
Of course, and then of course, since we are the Loose Men, and like our sister counterpart, we will be discussing a topic, and we discussed gender last week.
We bit off more than we could chew, I think.
Yeah, we didn't realise how much there was to gender, so we've decided to extend it for a gender part 2. So stay tuned for that.
For a gender bender.
And then we might just finish it off with a song for the ladies and maybe a question for Ben, if you want, the questions for Ben.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm always
we haven't done that segment for since the first show, and I feel like we need to bring it back.
Yeah, no.
It's just a way to get into your mind, see how it works.
Yeah.
Might not like what I see inside, but
no, exactly.
We'll give it a go.
The listeners might not either, but
so we're gonna start off with our 90s song with what we're starting off with. Looks like Country House by Blur. Country House by Blur. I do, because we've been doing decades as our theme for music each week. This is the last show where we've got sort of good music.
Potentially, I mean, number one's in the noughties, where sort of X Factor took over, and it was all just commercialised,
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to next week. Like, next week, basically...
We'll have to scrape the sort of dregs of the number one, see if there's anything worthwhile.
I'm just worried that it's going to be Crazy Frog.
Oh, no, no.
Some, stuff along those lines.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do to avoid that.
So, we've reached the not the highlight of the show, because that implies that everything after this segment is rubbish. Which it isn't. It's brilliant stuff, so... Stay tuned, but this is what most people come for. It is, of course, the Red Top Review. Red Top Review. That's the jingle for Red Top Review, so let's do the Red Top Review. So for those of you who aren't, if you've not been listening to the show, Red Top Review is where we bring in the Daily Star and the Sun, like each of us bring one, and then we discuss the news that the British people need to hear. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
So yeah, accurate description.
So, Ben, hit me with a story.
I'm net too old.
I'm net too old?
I'm net too old.
As in N-E-T?
Yep.
Right, go on, keep going.
The age of people looking for love online is getting older. Okay. But the biggest increase in internet dating will be among the over 65s, the study reveals. Oh. The average age of those seeking a new partner on the web is set to increase from 38 to 47 by 2050. And a new wave of super fit silver singles aged 65 to 85 will be in the market for internet matchmaking.
So that surprises me.
yeah, that's right. It caught me off guard.
Because you think, like, with Tinder and those sorts of, like, I mean, are they classed as dating apps?
I suppose so, yeah.
Where you'd think it'd be quite, sort of 21-year-olds, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that does surprise me. Why do you think that might be?
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of the prediction made was the average age will raise by 9 years by 2050, and I don't know where that's come from.
This is the Daily Star you're reading from.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been interested to see who the author of this was. But, it's such a. I mean, 33 years.
What it doesn't say though is whether the people who are over whatever age they said, was it over 60, over 65?
Over 65, so there'll be a boom in over 65.
So I think the reason, but they haven't said whether these people going online are either single or in a relationship or married. Maybe they get to that age. And
swingers.
Yeah, they just sort of, no, but you get to that age, you're like, been with this person for quite a long time, probably a few decades, got a bit bored, need to spice things up.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go online. Let's see what the internet has to offer. And
I do find it strange.
Territory.
I mean, potentially, obviously, there's this big sort of thing, I suppose in human society as a whole. I was about to say Western society, about finding that one's true love. And I suppose as you get older, when you're sort of middle-aged, past the age of having kids, if you haven't found the right person, it could potentially get more desperate almost.
Yeah.
So over 60s who struggle to use email might have to resort to.
Well, I suppose you just go out and talk to any old, Tom, Dick, and Harry. See if you can try and find somebody. Go to the local.
Yeah, so it's internet dating. The only other thing I can think of, so sort of older generations, the people this is talking about, don't tend to be the best with new technology. I think it's safe to say. Okay,
this is just a sweeping generalisation.
It's big time. I'm basing this off my elderly family members.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. And
I sort of think, well, they're grandkids, so people our age might be thinking, we'll set them up on a dating app. Whereas, but I wouldn't do that if my mum or dad was single and looking. I wouldn't do that with them.
No, yeah.
But I probably would for my grandparents. I'd sort of help them out if they wanted it.
And then it just gets a bit out of control. They think it's like some sort of.
So I'd be interested. All these over 65 accounts, how many of them have actually been created by grandkids and people in their teens or their 20s?
Yeah, actually, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
And then maybe just along the way they find the one.
The one maybe, or the few. If they
as I always say, there's more than one. Time to move swiftly on to my story. Well, it's not a story. It's the Rod Liddle section. Rod Liddle is by the looks of him, because they have a picture of him, he's probably mid-50s, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say around there. Maybe could be pushing 60.
I don't know. It's because he's got white hair, but he's got a sort of not a youngish face, but he looks got like a. If he had brown hair, he'd probably look like he's in his 40s.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
so
that's fair.
it's impossible to tell what age he is. He's between the ages of 40 and dead. But he always gives his views on just anything. We don't know what his qualifications are. We don't know if he's got A levels or anything like that. So, but he gives his view on the week's news. And so he starts off by talking about, of course, Prince Harry. Now, they've been engaged, now they're getting married, He said this: "My favourite question to Prince Harry from a BBC journo. What was it about Meghan Markle that first attracted you to her? Yeah, it's a hard one to work out, isn't it? I think he muttered about her strength or dignity or something, rather than saying, well, Nicholas, it's because she's as fit as a butcher's dog, mate." I was just like, well, okay, there's no need to go to that level. He's just a bit aggressive.
I don't know what the beef is with Harry. He tends to be the popular one, doesn't he, out of the royal family?
Yeah, maybe Rod's just like maybe he's having a bit of trouble at home, a bit of trouble.
Yeah, maybe
with his
getting angsty.
missus. So I feel slightly bad for him. Then moving swiftly on to now, this is every now and then I do sort of agree with Rod Liddell's views, and this is probably one that I actually agree with. So Jennifer Lawrence, she's been whining about people. This is what I'm reading. So this is what he says. She's been whining about people asking her for autographs and to pose for selfies. She tells them to clear off. Lawrence admitted that when she's out in public, she turns into an a-hole. Turns into? This is the woman who said hurricanes were Mother Nature's wrath at people who voted for Donald Trump.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, that. And those are the main ones. There's one about Rod Liddell talking about a new condom which tells you how well you perform during sex, but we don't need to go into that. That's just plain filth. Just good old.
Rod Liddell, what does he get up to?
He just tells a lot. So he's already had a go at Harry. So there's definitely something go wrong at home, I think, for him.
Yeah, I'd say so.
His wife's left him. He's just thinking about. He's like, just thinking about it. He just wants something to lash out, and he's just found some way to lash out there. So right, what's your next story? That's the Rod Liddell section out the way.
Okay, Kim Jong-boom.
Okay, it's another Kim Jong-un story.
Yeah.
Just to hear what they have to say about him.
Now Korean nut can nuke us all. So we don't normally hit on the breaking news, but I thought this is quite a juicy one.
Yeah.
See, the mighty Kim himself, the one true leader, has managed to launch a rocket so high into the air that they landed it just north of Japan that they now think they could hit anywhere in the US. Now that itself is not what I'm going to be talking about, though.
Okay.
Because what annoys me about this is it's all coming from sort of American press. The Americans, I can't remember who it was, I think it was the American Defense Secretary, this isn't in the paper, was quoted saying something along the lines of, now they can basically hit anywhere.
Galaxy Radio.
I've just pressed something, sorry. I was trying to move the thing and the jingle started going off. Right, forget that happened, continue.
Okay, so the...
That's just, I've put you off completely there.
Indeed, yeah. So the American Defense Secretary said something along the lines of, they can now basically hit anywhere.
Yeah.
Which really annoyed me, because I thought, no, they can't. He branched out to this bigger subject that the world has, especially the United States of America, has such an American-centric view that if you can hit America, you can hit anywhere, even if you can't.
Yeah. Well, you're just thinking about yourself here, aren't you? You're thinking.
I am. I don't think Kim could hit us exactly. But just the fact that I don't know, they probably could. To be fair, they could stretch right the way across the Pacific, but just because they can hit America, they can hit anywhere. I don't know. If it is some little fella living in the Falkland Islands or Argentina down there, I doubt he could hit there.
Yeah.
I ain't done the maths, it's speculation, but.
But that's what annoyed you.
Yeah.
The grind.
No, not the fact that Kim's launching nukes. He can do what he wants. He's the leader.
Yeah, he does what he's got power.
Yeah.
A bit like us, we've got celebrity power.
Exactly.
And we don't abuse it, but we use it wisely.
But we could if we wanted.
We could. I mean, we just when we go to the pub, always get our little spot. Even if there's someone sat there, we tell them kick them out. Otherwise, we're going to leave, and they need our business. So. We don't abuse it, but we use it sparingly.
Yeah.
If we need to. But not in a Harvey Weinstein way. That would be too much.
No.
Although we shouldn't joke about that. I'm just digging myself a hole, aren't I? So my next story is just a bit story. I mean, they've done a whole thing on it, The Sun, but it's about kids vlogging their way to online fame and fortune. And it says this: that gone are the days kids dreamed of becoming astronauts. Now they all want to be YouTube stars. Basic drift is kids are just wanting to start up a YouTube channel and start trying to become famous from that, because there is money to be made. I was interested to wonder what your view would be on that, about kids now more interested in becoming famous on YouTube than
it's strange.
Work.
I don't know. I'm not too good. My nephew tried to start. My youngest nephew.
Yeah.
He filmed himself and was like, I want to put these in. They never did, luckily.
What was it? Was it sort of gaming?
I think it was him playing Minecraft or something.
That's the one that everyone does. Everyone does sort of gaming ones, either FIFA.
Yeah, I think what upsets me potentially is the fact that money's not going to be going to the kids. It's going to be going to the parents. And I was watching a documentary about sort of child film stars and movie stars and TV stars who are now just bums, basically. They're broke. They've got
Macaulay Culkin.
Exactly, but not quite to that extreme, because he just did drugs his whole life. So there was one, he was the star of some American sitcom that ran for about 8 series, and his parents got all the money, and rather than saving it up, they just spent it all.
Oh, I think I heard something along these lines.
So that's what concerns me about these youth tubers, as it says in the paper there.
Is it? Oh yeah. Didn't see that bit. Yeah, it's a nice little pun there. But I've just looking at the picture. There's a picture of one guy who's got 6,700 followers, which, in the wide scheme of things, isn't that many. To become a huge sensation.
No.
It's a lot though. But you've got a picture of his parents, and it says "Proud Parents." It's Reese and Darren. So you just look at if you look at the photo, you can sort of tell they're happy with him doing that, because they're getting the money. You can just tell.
Yeah, a little bit.
But she's got a bit of a tan on her. He's got new specs by the looks of things. So you're right. I think it is all just going to
exactly. That's what I don't like. Parents. That's what annoys me more than kids not wanting to be, have real jobs and not really contribute to society. Is their parents using their kids for financial gain.
Yeah, and is it worth it? That's the question. Well, it is worth it. Of course, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So what we've learned from this is, if you are a parent, use your kids to get money. So that's something you should pick up there. If you've got a child, use them, get money off them, and then ditch them when they're 18.
That sounds about right.
Have you got another story before we move on, or?
Yeah, I've got
the
classic Just Jane, the Daily Star's equivalent of the Agony Aunt.
Yeah.
My babe treats me like a slave. Takes up a large chunk of a page in a national newspaper.
Yeah.
I'm used by her and her pals. Being kind and helpful is beginning to backfire. I'm sick of people taking advantage of me. I consider myself a decent, easygoing bloke. My parents always taught me to treat others kindly, but how I ended up surrounded by my current circle of users and liberty takers is beyond me. First is my girlfriend, who treats me like her own personal slave, from ordering me to follow her every order, buying her nice things, and pleasure her in the bedroom. She gives me a minute's peace. She never gives me a minute's peace, sorry. So it's basically just going on how he's under the thumb. And I just thought, Just Jane, this is the easiest problem ever. He sent in a whole page worth of text, and it's just man up.
Is that what she said?
No, that's what she should have said. I don't know what she said. Oh, wait, I can read it out here, actually.
Is it a long one?
Jane says, fair, I'll try and get the gist of it. Clearly you're reaching the end of your tether. Over the past year, you've watched through sober eyes the people around you wring you dry.
So I'm guessing the idea is leave her.
Yeah, you see, that's not really the approach I'd say. I think it's easy enough to talk and basically just tell her, stick it where the sun doesn't shine, Ben,
have you ever thought of being an agony aunt or
I think I'd be a great... No, agony aunt, I like something being an agony aunt. Yeah.
Just Ben.
I think that'd be great.
Well, I don't know what qualifications just
Blunt Ben. Let's tell them how it is.
What? All yours are going to be the same, though. It's going to be man up, woman up.
No, I don't know, because I think there are genuine problems which need a bit more than that. But ones like this, my babe treats me like a slave. I mean, the way he's saying "my babe" tells you know what he's gonna be like. He's gonna be pandering to her every need. He's gonna be cooking her 3 meals a day, doing all her laundry, giving her lifts to and from town when she wants a girls' night out.
Yeah.
And then whenever he wants to do something for her, she'll say no, and he go, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll spend the night with you."
He's a pushover. That's
Exactly.
So, what's the advice we've given him? Just what's your advice? Let's get the advice from Mark.
Grow some balls.
Grow some balls, right? Okay. That's the advice that. What's his name? He won't put his name.
Well, no, I won't put his name, unfortunately.
I was going to mention because I don't think we have enough time, but I was going to mention about a war criminal who takes during his.
I think I've heard about that. Yeah.
Court hearing, he took a swig of poison at the dock, on the dock, and just died. But that was that story. But I think you've got some Tex Maniacs, I believe, haven't you?
I do. Let me just find them. Okay, so obviously there's the classic joke of the day by the Tex Maniacs, which is about, those of you who haven't listened before, so the joke of the day by Tex Maniacs, this is about the standard you can expect to get. Yeah. A man was rushed to hospital after he swallowed a bag of money. As surgeons started to operate, friends asked for his condition, and they were told, "No change yet." Yeah. It's pretty depressing. Not exactly great.
And what was their name?
It was Phil Southend. Now that is like textbook footballer name. I think there's probably been more footballers with that name than any other name.
Again, these are the views of Ben Hodgkinson.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. So from Bonehead. Ambulances attending Amazon sweatshops for exhausted workers who earn peanuts for 10-hour shifts. No wonder Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world. I don't know. This just makes, where is it? Yeah, there's loads in the text. That was by Bonehead, like I say.
Bonehead.
I don't really. I'm guessing he's talking about the company Amazon and how they pay their workers. Is Jeff Bezos the chairman of Amazon, maybe?
Maybe. Right, we could ask our listeners if you know. You can put in the little chat. Just give us information because we know nothing.
So from Ed Chat we have deep freeze Britain is so cold that it's giving global warming a bad name.
And who's this from again?
This is from Ed Chat.
Ed Chat.
Ed Chat.
I always hate people that do that. Like when it gets a bit cold, it's like all this global warming. And
yeah, I know.
You always get one of them, and they're always the same. They're sort of like cynical, arsey, middle-aged man who's got nothing better to do with their time.
If you're talking of arsey middle-aged men, all I'm guessing is an arsey middle-aged man. Swamp Duck. This text sort of epitomises Tex Maniacs.
Yeah.
Prince Harry is probably the most normal of the tax dodgers, in brackets, I mean the royals. But the poor, who don't know where their next meal is coming from, won't be getting excited about some wealthy couple getting hitched. I don't know. I think there's as much reason to get excited about that as watching, as who's going to win the X Factor, in my opinion.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
It just epitomises the Tex Maniacs.
It does. It's quite well.
Shall we do the horoscopes?
Yeah. Let's go first. Or whoever gets to it first. You got it?
I've got it up here. There's like my whole newspaper's a mess now. So this is for your star sign, which is Cancer. So this is what Mystic Meg has to say. So that I think she gets all the words in order to form a coherent sentence.
Okay, you got lucky, yeah.
Yeah. Your perfectionism takes over, and the meticulous way you do even the most routine tasks can lead to valuable discoveries. So, I don't know, you might find like a little tenner behind a sofa or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, that would be very helpful at this moment in my life.
How are you doing after the burglary? Okay?
Coping. Sort of reorganised to an extent. Still haven't got a laptop, so I'm in and out the library too often. I'm getting sick of the place.
But it's okay. You've like.
Yeah. So the landlords come and change the locks.
Oh right, yeah.
So it's been pretty smooth.
Oh yeah. She goes on to say, with Venus in your sector of romantic fun, someone you have always wanted to meet walks into your world. So I don't know who you always wanted to meet, but one of them is going to walk into your world.
Does she say an exact date when it's not?
No, it just says with Venus in your sector, so Venus is in your sector. Helping a wish come true for a good friend could really make your day. So basically help someone.
Yeah, I'll have to consider this.
Yeah. To me, though, it's the usual ambiguous rubbish that Mystic Meg comes up with.
Yeah, I'm not...
With all the star signs, and all the stars say this, Venus says that.
And
I want to know what her qualifications are.
yeah, but I mean, she's been around for a while. I always remember hearing the name Mystic Meg. I think this is all she's ever done.
She's getting paid to do it, though.
Yeah, she probably gets paid quite a lot, to be fair.
I wonder if she ever gets recognised in the street, because there is a picture of her, like, oh, that's Mystic Meg.
Probably, or you can feel the psychic presence as you walk past her.
And who have you got?
So,
Russell Grant?
Classic Russell Grant. Looks a bit like Rod Liddell.
Yeah.
So you're Aries, so it's a good time to propose cutting edge ideas. If you've got any cutting edge ideas, propose them.
Probably. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I usually do.
Your business or romantic partner, one or the other.
One or the other.
Doesn't matter which. Won't be supportive of these concepts, but don't be discouraged. A forward-thinking professional is excited by your pioneer spirit. They'll give you the green light for a daring project.
I'm trying to think of a daring project I've got lined up.
I mean, you don't own a business, do you? Oh, I suppose you're the president of Galaxy Radio.
Well, no. Well, I'm the production manager.
Production manager.
So
you're basically the owner.
Basically the owner. Or
so you're going to come up with a really out there idea, and either the radio won't support it, or your girlfriend won't support it.
I'm sure both will, because my ideas are like...
Oh, no, not according to Russell Grant.
Oh, it's a shame. Well, in that case, I'll just avoid doing anything for the next few weeks. Should we end the Red Top Review as we always end it?
What a mess.
Well, I'm just sort of preparing for the next week's show, which is officially the last show of the series before the Christmas special. Where I'm just trying to build it up to something.
Yeah, I'm expecting fire.
So we listen to our next song, which appears to be is it
Shaggy by Mr. Bombastic.
Yeah, we're not making that mistake again. So Mr. Bombastic. No, Mr. Bombastic by Shaggy.
Yeah, there we go.
We got it right. Well, I got it right this time.
Mr. Bombastic.
Just fading that out because, of course, we don't have that much time. We could do radio edits, I suppose. We could do radio edits of like the songs, but it'd be like when I did that radio edits of Careless Whisper, which is because that Careless Whisper is like 6 or 7 minutes long, and I realised how it's very difficult doing a radio edit, and then in the end I just got so sick and tired of it that I just cut it in half, and it's so blatantly obvious where the cut is. So I thought it'd be just nice just to sort of fade it out.
No, good job. Good job, well done.
Well, we were both helping each other out. You were on the mics, I was on the old fading. So it's time to look at our topic of the week. So we were looking at gender last week. What are we covering that? I'm trying to think.
We just sort of tried to sink our teeth into a bit. There was we looked at definitions. There was some stuff about 72 different genders, and we sort of looked at the way there's quite a bit of crossover between gender and sexuality.
Yeah, and I think we solved those issues, I think, but
to an extent.
But I think we need to look into other things. So we thought this week we'd sort of, in part 2 of our gender, we'll give it a go. We're gonna see what gender, talk about gender politics, which in itself sounds quite broad, but we'll give it a go. Maybe this could be like a trilogy of topics.
So just to confirm, Jeff Bezos is the CEO of Amazon.
Oh right, when we were talking about in the red.
Yeah, from the Text Maniacs.
Yeah. So thank you, Anonymous 10373. You gave us that answer, which is what we want. It's nice to have our listeners, talking to us, interacting with us, because of course, as we know, they're the scum of the earth, people who listen to the show. So, but it's nice to know that they exist.
Nice to hear them.
Yeah, exactly. So, shall we start off with an attempted definition of gender politics?
Oh God, here we go. Right.
This isn't official. I've just found it online. So this was written by. I don't know who this was written by. It was by a guy called Bruce. So it's a guy.
Right,
That's going to
Bruce.
affect it.
Well, is it a guy, or are they just called Bruce?
Oh, interesting. I like where you're going with that. So it could be a man, could be a woman. We don't know. But he or she says it attempts to address the roles of men and women in society. Makes sense. There is typically a great deal of emphasis on the inequality of the sexes. This sometimes results in single-issue voters, i.e. if it does not improve the quality of life for women. So the basic gist is to do with feminism and equality in feminism. I mean, are you a feminist, Ben? Oh, there's already a pause there.
No,
Are we going to crucify you?
I'm not. I'm definitely not an outright, protesting feminist. Burn my bra. I ain't got a bra to burn, but if I do, but I do definitely support, the movement.
Yeah, I think
in a lot of ways. I think that there's a difference between being a feminist and being, taking it to the extreme, which is where I sort of take a step back.
Yeah, it's a bit like where. Well, it's got negative connotations now, feminism.
It has, but I think that is mainly this sort of splinter group of extreme feminists.
The feminazis.
The feminazis.
Yeah.
I'd say, they sort of bring the whole feminist, bring it all down, really.
It's always that case of like
the old school traditional feminism, bringing, women have historically always been suppressed, bringing them, up to the same standard as men. Because that's the difference. I think the traditional feminists is bring women up to the same standards of men. Whereas the sort of feminazi version is bring men down to the same standard. If you see what I mean. So rather than empowering women, it's almost about bringing men down.
But I've heard some views on this, like where people say that what's got to happen to have equality, you've got to bring women above men and bring them down a bit before it becomes equal. I mean, I don't understand it or believe in that theory at all, but I think that's what they believe in, that they've got an understanding.
I mean, it's strange because obviously, socially, I suppose men have always been superior. They've always had more rights, better rights than women. But
yeah, exactly.
There are other ways in which women are, especially nowadays, they've overtaken men. So suicide rates, homelessness, incarceration rates.
Yeah.
There are definitely statistics. You can call it statistics for anything, really. But so some people would argue that it's almost a lost cause now, they don't need to do anything more. But I'd definitely say no, there are still areas where men have a real advantage over women. But I don't think it's nearly as big of an issue as it has been historically.
No, but
and having these sort of feminazis, bringing the whole feminist sort of ideology almost down, if you like, it's definitely losing credibility.
It's like, because with English at the degree, I don't know if it's what it's like with international relations, but it's very much predominantly girls on women in English.
Yeah, sure.
So I find that in most of my my seminars, my tutorials, it's just usually me and another bloke, and then the rest 7 or 8 girls in there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And so you'll find that I almost feel like I'm the one being not oppressed, but I'm the one who's being asked for the male view on a text.
Yeah.
We're sort of analysing, and I don't entirely feel comfortable with that. It's like they just turn to you, and you're the token guy in the room. And they turn to you and just go, "Well, where do you stand?"
And they always ask you for your opinion, so they can object to it and sort of criticise it and pick it to pieces.
Well, I still remember the weirdest one was when I was doing a sort of poetry module. And we were looking at poetry about a man who's trying to convince a woman to go to bed with him, and something along those lines. And then my tutor, who was a man, turned to me, and because I was the only guy there, and just went, "Johnny, where do you stand on women being dominant in the bedroom?"
Oh, okay.
And I was just there like, "Oh, okay." All girls' eyes on me.
Yeah.
So I've got to try and come up with a good answer. Not only have I got to come up with a
sort
good
of
answer,
neutral answer.
A neutral answer, but an answer that will add something into the mix. So I thought, well, let's crack this one out, and so I just went with the classic, whatever floats your boat, really.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And everyone was happy from it. But there's that's the only time where I feel almost oppressed.
Yeah, no, I won't say I've been cut that too much. So anyway, moving on to gender, obviously feminism ties to the progressive sort of almost the progressive left, as it's often called, but people who want to try and change things, so feminists, the LGBT community, also it sort of comes under the same boat. So gender, we spoke about last time, so trying to define it.
Which we attempted to.
Yeah, and so we had a look at the overlap of sexuality and gender, and the 72 gender. We said we were going to have a look at sort of the legality of it, so we almost tended to agree with most of the points last week about gender, and how it's a good cause. But the legality, this is where I sort of tail off, and this could be my undoing here.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, so an example is the Canadian government, I'm pretty sure, has made it a legal requirement that you use someone by their preferred pronouns. Otherwise it's a criminal offence, it's a hate crime. So if I said, I'm no longer Ben Hodgkinson, I am Bethany Hodgkinson, but I'm necessarily, you could be a complete stranger. I'm walking down the street, and you go, I don't know. All right,
mate, how are you?
Yeah, exactly. No, not even that. But so you just imply that I'm a male.
It's like,
just because I identify my pronoun, my preferred pronouns are hers. What's the other one?
What?
She.
He or he or him.
She, yeah, her, yeah. You are there carrying out a criminal offence, which I think is rubbish, if I'm honest.
That is a bit like weird.
I think it is strange, because you'd look at me, well, it doesn't matter what gender I choose to define myself by, unless I made drastic changes to my appearance, the average person's going to look at me and think, right, that's a man.
Yeah.
So how are they supposed to get in my head and think, right, identifies as a woman, or identifies as a, well, I can't remember what any of the other genders were, which is quite bad. Identifies as what are they? Like demi gender.
I don't know. All I know is man, woman. What else have we got?
Yeah, no, I think the spectrum. We had a look at there was one definition was the spectrum, which I thought was quite nice last week, about how there's total masculinity at one end and total femininity at the other end.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of how far along the spectrum you were. But then the only problem we sort of came up with to that last week was, is there like a split down the middle? Is there like, can you actually go completely from total masculinity to total femininity, or is there a split in the middle where you can have a guy who's very feminine but he's never going to be 100%,
Yeah, I think it's more.
It is so hard to define.
I think we've been off more than we can chew, I think, in this.
Big time, even with this second week trying to review it. So, I mean, that's the new bit, the legal side of it. So what do you think about, obviously, sex and gender are different things, we've discussed this.
Yeah.
So sex is to do with your chromosomes, it's biology. You're either born a male or born a female, and you have certain chromosomes based on that. So what do you think about people being able to sort of go legally sort of be identified as the other? So I identify as a woman. That's socially acceptable nowadays, which is for the better. But now it's to the point where legally I'm on paper, on all the forms, I'm a female.
I think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think in terms of just, we don't need that so much. I think I think what it just simply needs
obviously
to be,
the next extreme is when you get, so normally male to female transsexuals entering sporting competitions as women. There's the New Zealand, I'm pretty sure, the Kiwi cage fighter that used to be a man and happened to win heavyweight champion in the female cage fighting. I just thought, it's you got to draw a line somewhere.
I think gender's just like a too complicated thing, and it just creates more controversy and more negativity than it needs to.
So what's your solution to that?
The solution is, you can have gender, but in terms of legality, which is what we were discussing, you can legally class yourself as whatever you want to, but in the end I think the paperwork just needs to be simply a case of
sort of the chromosomes, the biology of it.
So when you're like filling in a health form, just fill in. You don't need gender or like what you identify as. You just simply need your sex, and that's it. You don't need to go into he or she.
I agree with that completely.
And I feel like we need to wrap it up.
So we go unravel gender then.
Have we solved it?
No.
I think we have solved it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. They just make infinite amount of genders to the point where there aren't any. Everyone's different.
Should we? I'm just trying to think now. Should we do a song for the ladies, or should we do another 90s song?
Should we just skip the 90s songs, do something for the ladies? We are running low on time.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do the song for ladies. See, I've been thinking as well. I should probably do, when I do the song for ladies, because it's me who does that, and you do the 90s songs. I should probably choose something that's in the 90s.
Yeah,
era.
potentially try noughties for next.
Yeah, because I've just been getting random ones, so it feels really out of place. So to go with our 90s theme, the song for the ladies is from the noughties with Bruno Mars' Runaway Baby. Runaway Baby by Bruno Mars. It's part of our 90s selection. Not really, no, it's not. It's my song for the ladies.
Song for the ladies.
Song for ladies, which nicely mixes with the 90s because that's from the noughties, of course. So we're coming near to the end of the show, but I thought it's best if we bring back an old feature of the show, which we used in the first show, but haven't really used since then, which is Questions for Ben, where it's simply just a way to get inside his head and see what he's thinking, how he thinks, just to get to know him a bit more.
That sounds good. Hit me up.
So the question I've got for you tonight: what do you want your tombstone to say? What would you have on it?
Ooh, that's deep. That. I mean, it could just go for the boring, rest in peace, born, blah blah blah, died, blah blah blah, loving father or whatever. I suppose if I have kids, that'd be a nice one to have on. I'd say, I've always said there's a song that is going to be played at my funeral.
Okay, yeah.
And I might have to, it was never number one. It was by Massive Attack. It's called Hymn of the Big Wheel. And it's just, it's not sad, everyone says, I don't want my funeral to be sad, and I'm the same. And it's just sort of, lyrically, it's a really nice, has a good message, and the lyrics are, it was mentioned in the Peep Show, so you might remember it.
Okay, yeah.
The big wheel keeps on turning on a simple line day by day, so it's one big metaphor, and it's the earth spins on its axis, one man struggles while another relaxes. I think that'd be a nice little message,
Yeah. So
it's so true. Everyone has hard times at some point in their life. Some people, longer than others, but you're always gonna have moments in your life when it's not so hard.
Yeah, see, I think I'd be the opposite of you, like where you want to have people happy after, after you're gone. You want to have a happy song. I'd want a sad song because I want people to be crying. I want people to be sort of just in tears, going,
I think more than that, yeah.
Such a great guy. We've lost such a great radio entertainer, comedian, all the above.
Yeah, think about it more. I would like to be, if you ever walk through a graveyard, some certain ones stand out.
Okay.
I'd love to have one that stands, almost like a feature of the graveyard. So it's like a phallus-shaped tombstone, something like that. That'd be incredible. He died the same knob he always was.
So that's actually quite a good one.
Yeah, I might
steal that one off you now.
Whoever dies first gets it.
Whoever dies first gets it. See, now I'm trying to think what I'd have on my tombstone, whether I just like you said, just keep it simple, but then you want to be remembered. You want people in years to come to walk past your tombstone, read it and go, ooh, intriguing. So I think I'd probably just, what would I go with? Here lies... Well, no, he enjoyed life. Life was a joke to him.
Yeah, that's good.
Life was a joke to him. Because then people will be like, oh, does that mean did he take his own life? Was he depressed or something? Life was a complete joke to him, or did he just really enjoy life? Who knows? Gets you questioning.
Indeed, yep.
I think we could. Ooh, should we start wrapping it up? I don't know.
I think potentially.
Potentially. Oh, what's our last song? It's Elton John. That's our number one, isn't it?
The best-selling song in the 90s. Elton John, "Candle in the Wind."
Candle in the Wind. And
so, tune in next week for the noughties, our final decade. We won't be doing the 2010. You don't really the tenties. You can't really say that.
Teens, wouldn't it?
It's not all the teens. About 2010 to 13. No, to 12. Sorry.
The noughties.
But anyway, so we won't be doing that because the decade's not over. So the noughties will be the last one.
The teenties, the oneies. No, the tennies. I don't know.
Oh, and the tenties is probably the best bet. But that sounds stupid.
I'm sure somebody will come up with some sort of philosopher
probably
or scientist. So to wrap this mammoth of a show off, it's Elton John. This has been Loose Men. I've been Johnny Birch.
I've been Ben Hodgkinson.
Yeah, so that's it.
Cheerio.
Tune in for the final episode of the series before the Christmas special. Good night.